Apple's results came in more or less as expected. So if you look at the stock post-market, unchanged, a little bit lower. But CEO Tim Cook on the investor call right now, he says there is a misunderstanding about the Chinese economy in the Western world. He says China will be Apple's top market. Our tech panel is here. Fox News Headlines 24/7 anchor Brett Larson, Ling Kent, Digital Trends, Jeremy Kaplan. Welcome, one and all. So, Joe, what did you make of the Chinese numbers? Because there were two metrics that I heard analysts cared about. Numbers in China and iPhone numbers.
Yeah, well, it certainly worked for them. $12.52 billion is how much they did in China. That's 24% of all sales. So very strong overall. Cook saying that basically there's a misunderstanding because they're still able to convert existing into upgrades and then also convert those who are currently on Android phones as well. And then the people who don't have smartphones buying them for the first time. It's largely seen as a very promising product there because people are shifting away from spending on traditional luxury items and then spending on phones.
So somehow it is acceptable to walk around, right, with an iPhone and maybe not some other products.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
They seem to be that culture seems very into what are you wearing, what do you have, what's in your pocket, you know, what color is your phone. They like the rose gold and the gold phones. So I could see that being the case. I do wonder though, with all this good news from China, if that will ease some of the strain here on our markets, because I know we tend to be a little freaked out about what happens with China's economy.
Jeremy, from what you saw, whether it's Apple's numbers in China, whether it's the overall iPhone numbers, whether it's any of the other products so Apple TV, of course, coming out, anything catch your eye?
The big thing was definitely the continued sales of the iPhone. It's interesting to talk about China. A lot of manufacturers think about that as a cheap market, where you can sell some discount products, the $50 phones, the $100 phones.
That's not the case.
Instead, it's the very expensive iPhones. It's the brand that is really carrying over everywhere around the world.
So what did you make, Joe, of this idea, okay, you can walk around with a phone, and I heard you say this, but not a bag. Why is that? What's changing?
There's this ongoing anti-corruption campaign going on that's being administered from the top down. President Xi Jinping is going after major party leaders who've shown that they have a lot of excess when their jobs aren't necessarily paying that much to sustain that lifestyle. So there's this cultural sort of campaign going on. But also, I think there's a couple of other interesting things from the call, actually, and from the earnings report. iPad sales down 20% year over year. That's a big bomb, especially as they wait for the new iPad to come out for enterprise.
I'm not surprised by the stall in tablet sales. I think, a phone is something you could justify buying once a year. I don't see a tablet as something consumers are like, oh, I'm going to get a new one next year. And
right.
I wish they would put it on like a 2-year cycle because I feel like the numbers would probably even out.
And no info about the watch, Jeremy, and iPad Pro. Yeah, it was like, whatever.
No details, but we think that it was doing pretty well and probably a profitable product.
All right, there we go.
Cook said there were increased numbers on Apple Watch, but the category itself, which includes the TV and Beats accessories, up 61% year over year. $3 billion, but we don't know what it's made of.
And the big thing for me is something like $206 billion in cash. I feel like $206 billion in cash, like mic drop. All right, thank you all. Jeremy Kaplan, Ling Kent, Brett Larson.